As a dad, my music taste may not seem relevant to my teenagers. Now Rob, I talk to a lot of test professionals and I'm constantly being told that the microfocus tools LoadRunner, UFT and ALM are legacy and just not relevant for modern testing. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think the relevant thing is the key part here, isn't it? Music is a point in time, but software isn't. So, LoadRunner, for example, may well go back to the mid-90s, but it's being continuously developed. I mean, that's why LoadRunner supports so many different technologies, because it's been there at those points throughout history. But now, I mean, we've got to the point where, you know, we're fully DevOps within our organization, producing these testing tools, and we're using our own testing tools to deliver these particular testing tools. So I think the thing here is they're old. Of course they are, but that doesn't mean to say they're not relevant.
Okay, you said something there about Microfocus are developing their tools using Agile and DevOps. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, we've been on a DevOps journey long before it was ever called DevOps. We used to call it Application Lifecycle Management. We talked about how application delivery isn't just about the SDLC anymore. It was a lot wider than that. It was about obviously planning for the application, building the application, and then getting into production, and then obviously constantly updating it. But we've gone from that philosophy now to, you know, one of a fully agile within that loop. So whereas 10 years ago we may have been doing the 18 months, 2-year releases, now we're putting out software product releases every single month. You know, if you think about the products that we had back then, within my small area of Microfocus, you know, we have about 20 different products. Within Microfocus itself, we have like 300 odd different products. So if you think about the changes that involves, whereas 10 years ago, it may well take 3 to 4 weeks to get a build to a QA team. Now we get a build to a QA team every single hour. Think about the changes that means. What are you going to do with that build once you get it, and how are you going to test those things? It's all about automation. It's all about using our own tools to actually deliver on that success.
So you've got more releases that are coming out. You're bringing tools to market faster. What does this mean to your customers?
Well, it means that, you know, this is how software is developed today, isn't it? What it means for our customers is obviously that it's a customer-driven approach. So, you know, coming back to your relevance point about LoadRunner and UFT, etc., our customers are demanding certain aspects, you know, certain technologies, certain features, etc., and it gives them the ability to actually consume those things a lot quicker than they ever could before.
Okay, so picking up on something you said there, you talked about the customers are demanding. So how is the roadmap for these tools developed?
Well, it's obviously it's a backlog, isn't it, these days? I mean, rather than a roadmap. I mean, it's constantly changing. You know, the product management group are there talking to customers all the time, getting their feedback. We have all sorts of different forums. We have a number of larger customers which go out to our development offices, you know, once or twice a year to actually talk to our developers, understand what our developers are doing, how we're using our tools to develop our software, you know, and it's just exchange of ideas between those different development functions.
I came across LoadRunner in 1996. So what's changed?
Well, since 1996, the whole world has changed. You know, if you think about the technologies that people were developing in their applications back then, you know, we've had a whole raft of new technologies coming in, new technologies disappearing, and other technologies appearing after that. So LoadRunner and all our other tools need to keep up with those changes. You know, change within the application delivery arena is obviously constant. So LoadRunner also back in 1996 was a product in its own. Now LoadRunner is a family of different products. So we have LoadRunner, the traditional version as you may well know it, LoadRunner Enterprise, which obviously then scales to the wider organization, and LoadRunner Cloud.
So LoadRunner Cloud, tell me a bit about that.
Well, LoadRunner Cloud is obviously there to make the use of the internet. The big challenges that people have with performance testing is the infrastructure itself, you know, that you need to provision to be able to do that performance testing in the first place, you know, whether it's on a very small scale or a very large scale. So working with people like Amazon or Azure, we can spin up testing load generators very quickly. We've worked with many different customers. I mean, we say LoadRunner Cloud supports people from 1 to maybe 5 million or more different virtual users being able to do that. And the infrastructure to be able to do that very quickly, being able to switch these things on off is key. Many of our competitors, with a performance test over maybe 100,000 users or something, that may well take many hours, if not days, to actually get that infrastructure in place, whereas we can do it almost within the click of a finger.
So again, picking up on LoadRunner Cloud, how long has it been out?
LoadRunner Cloud, I think, emerged probably about 5 or 6 years ago under the name of StormRunner Load. StormRunner Load was a brand which obviously now we've aligned into the LoadRunner family, but it's a pretty mature product in terms, and it's coming back to the whole legacy thing. This is one of a very DevOps product in the way that we develop it. I mean, there's a new release every single month within StormRunner, LoadRunner Cloud.
Okay, that's fantastic. So earlier on, we were talking about UFT and ALM. Tell me something about what's been happening with those.
Well, it's a similar sort of story. So we have families of tools across functional testing, mobile testing. Obviously, we talked about performance testing, but also lifecycle management tools, to deliver those different aspects of it. So we've got some people, using perhaps what you may well call legacy technologies, that things like ALM may well be suited for them. But then we've also got tools like Octane, which is very, very DevOps. It's delivered in a very DevOps way, but people are using it. The thing with organizations that we work with is that they're not necessarily one or the other. They have obviously some tools, teams using very DevOps practices, other ones using very waterfall practices. It's a whole mishmash of things, and that's really what DevOps is. So you need tools like Octane to be able to cope with those different diversities within different teams and give you that management layer across all those different tools.
So that sounds like a fantastic tool. Maybe what we'll do is we'll save that thought for another time. So it sounds like a lot has changed.
Yeah, it has. I mean, software delivery is all about innovation, isn't it? So our customers need to innovate in what they're doing to stay ahead in their markets, and we have to innovate within our tools to stay ahead within our market too. Fantastic.
So if we think back to my teenage children, they listen to some of my music, and I'm starting to listen to some of their music. So Ed Sheeran is now on my playlist.
Your secret's safe with me.
Thank you. So next time, Rob, why don't we talk about one of Micro Focus's best kept secrets, ALM Octane?
Let's do it.